This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
I had no idea we had such strong feelings about kangaroos in this newsroom.
I like
kangaroos.
I know that
you really are opposed to kangaroos.
Yeah, and I don't want to offend anyone out there who was like, you got it all wrong about kangaroos. I'm not a fan.
And you worked at the zoo. So
I did.
You know a thing or two about kangaroos.
I love the wallabies, though. The wallabies are adorable. The bigger kangaroos. Tawana, you're on my team.
I'm on your team.
Thank you.
Yeah, they are absolutely terrifying. I do not want to be anywhere near that. I'm not even going to go to Australia. For those of you heading out for today, we are seeing quite a few clouds overhead right now and still watching some showers showing up in portions of Washington County, mainly near Springfield. But this is the last little bit of rainfall that we're seeing for the morning hours. It's currently moving out. Looking from New Albany off towards the east, you see that layer, that bank of clouds off towards the southeast with the clearer skies overhead. And for those of you in Indiana, this is part of the reason why you're a little bit cooler, seeing more of those 60s, while the rest of us are mainly sitting in the low 70s. In the metro, we're seeing temperatures ranging from 72 in Floyd's Knobs to 71 in Fern Creek, and seeing 74 degrees right now in Shively. So over the next 12 hours, going to be watching for that mix of sun and clouds across the area. As back into the 80s, I'll let you know when we'll see a little bit of that warm up, plus a significant cool down in my full forecast.
Thank you. Sorry. My phone was going crazy. Bullitt County Schools. Okay, kids. Better be getting ready for school. They are going to be open today and on a normal schedule. The district had to close yesterday, though, because schools did not have running water.
That was all caused by a major water main break that impacted several parts of the county. I'm Wave News reporter Marissa Burke joining us live in Mount Washington with more on those lingering effects this morning. Marissa.
Good morning, Shannon and Olivia. Some areas are still on a boil water advisory, and some may be experiencing low water pressure. You can see this massive area of dirt that was where the main water break happened yesterday. The good news is that break has been repaired, and the Bullitt County students will be able to go back to school. Monday afternoon is when officials say that this all happened, and they realized there was little to no water for nearby communities, including the fire department and the police department. We still don't know exactly what caused the break that happened near the Wawa being built across from Burger King and Kroger. But like I said, it is fixed now. We were able to talk to a person who shared his experience of what was going on for him while the repairs were taking place.
Last night I couldn't take a shower, I couldn't flush the toilet, couldn't get me a drink of water, so I mean couldn't get no ice. It just adds up.
This morning, as a reminder, some areas are still under that boil water advisory and may be experiencing some low pressure. Marissa Burke, Wave News, back to you.
Thanks, Marissa. JCPS's board unanimously approved lowering property tax rates for the 2025 to 26 fiscal year. The motion lowers the tax rate down to 71.7 cents per $100 of assessed value. For a home valued at $250,000, this equals to about $1,800 a year in these taxes. JCPS still expects to bring in more tax revenue next year because of an increase in population. The board says they'll bring in $36.5 million a year to cover pay for support, staff, facilities, and the district's general operations.
New this morning, a man and woman are in the hospital after LMPD says they were shot overnight. Investigators say the shooting happened on Dixie Highway, not far from Holy Cross High School. They found a car there with several bullet holes. Police say they found the victims about 4 miles away in the parking lot of the Waffle House on Cane Run Road. The man was shot in the hip. The woman had a gunshot wound in her leg. Both were taken to the hospital and are expected to survive. Police are still searching for the shooter. Happening today, Metro Council is expected to hold a special discussion on crime trends in the city.
It follows several high-profile shootings in the last couple of weeks. Wave News reporter Kirsten Foote in the studio with more on what will be discussed today.
Good morning, Shannon and Olivia. This is a routine special discussion for Metro Council members, but it allows them to focus on only one topic, which in this case is LMPD crime trends. And we actually got some data from LMPD earlier this month showing recent crime trends. And it shows that from this time last year, homicides are down 33%. Non-fatal shootings are down 31%. The only stat to see an increase were bank and business robberies at 11%. Earlier this month, LMPD Deputy Chief Emily McKinley talked about those numbers.
These highlight the ongoing efforts that we have with our Safe Louisville plan, as well as the LMPD's crime strategy plan that focuses on data, responsive policing, focusing on violent offenders.
Discussion is being held by the Public Safety Committee, and it's chaired by District 13 Councilmember Dan Syme and Tammy Hawkins from District 1. She's the vice chair. Today's meeting will begin at 4 o'clock inside Metro Hall. Kirsten Foote, Wave News.
Kirsten, thank you. A man accused of killing and decapitating his father in Jeffersonville plans to use an insanity defense during his trial. Bryce Winneke is charged with murder and abuse of a corpse. Police say he killed his father at a home on Summerlin Place last week. He then had an hours-long standoff with police at a house on Callaway Drive before he was arrested. Prosecutors want him to serve life in prison without the possibility of parole, but Winneke's defense argues there's reason to believe he didn't know what he was doing was wrong.
And obviously, the insanity defense is something that we want the government to look at very closely and to determine whether Bryce is competent and capable of helping us put his defense together in this case.
Due to the serious nature of this offense and the crimes that were charged, I felt it was absolutely imperative to the safety of the community that he stay incarcerated while the matter pending.
Winneke appeared in court with an injury to his head. Prosecutors say that was the reason his original hearing on Monday was rescheduled for Tuesday afternoon. Right now, he's being held in jail without bond.
Happening today, there will be a town hall on the governor's Pre-K for All initiative. It aims to advance the Commonwealth's public education system as well as job growth. It's going on today at the Kentucky State Fair. It'll be in the southwest wing of the Expo Center from 5:30 to 7. Now, you do need to get a ticket into the fair to go to the meeting. And next month, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet will host a public meeting to get information about potential improvements to the outer loop. Feedback from that meeting will be used in a study to improve safety and congestion on the outer loop between I-65 and Shepherdsville Road. The meeting will happen September 10th from 5 to 7 at the South Central Regional Library. They'll also have an online survey about the project you can fill out after the meeting.
Community activists say they want to stop a religious group from offering optional religious instruction in Oldham County. Under Kentucky Senate Bill 19, public school boards can partner with organizations that offer student instruction through religious or ethical programs. Parents who sign off can let their students join the outside partner during the school day for, quote, moral instruction. Christian organization LifeWise Academy says it hopes to start with a pilot program at Locust Grove in Oldham County. The group Kentucky Citizens for Democracy argued it's a threshold the community should not cross.
We are not anti-religion. Many of our members are churchgoers, active in their faith. The thing we are is pro-separation of church and state. We believe those need to be completely separate, that the school day and public schools are for education, reading, writing, social studies, and that religious instruction needs to take place separately. And those two should not be joined, just like our founders, James Madison, who wrote the Constitution and authored those amendments, said you cannot let any cracks happen in that wall of separation.
Right now, the Oldham County School Board still has to decide if LifeWise Academy will be added as an option for students.
The company Givaudan expects to fully demolish what is left of its factory on Payne Street. They expect this to start soon, too. In a message sent by the company's chief financial officer, Givaudan has hired Hayden Wrecking as its contractor to manage the site demolition. The Sense Color plant exploded last November, killing 2 workers and injuring a dozen more. The U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives say the explosion was caused when a cooking vessel containing a caramel coloring failed and caused overpressurization. The company confirmed in January it would not rebuild the facility at the original Clifton site. Officials say they'll now submit an application to get the demolition permit. They expect it to start in the next few weeks and should be finished within 40 days.
A group of Kentucky advocates say they want to make it safer for roadside assistance workers to do their job while traffic is moving. It comes after tow truck driver Troy Caldwell was killed while working on I-64 last September. Caldwell was towing a vehicle when he was hit. His best friend and fellow tow truck driver Bubba Johnson is pushing lawmakers to pass what he calls Troy's Law. It would allow tow trucks to be equipped with rear-facing blue lights to notify other drivers.
Rear-facing only, added in with our regular lighting on our wreckers and rollback. The blue lights would make people like pump the brake a minute, let off the accelerator for a second, and take better hold to what's going on up ahead.
Johnson's group was granted a subcommittee hearing in Frankfort for September 17th.
And coming up, soon we'll have a new area code in the Louisville area.
We'll explain why 502 is being retired and the new 3-digit code that will take its place.
Well, Louisville city leaders say for too long, copper thefts have been a big problem, but a new ordinance aimed at stopping would-be criminals in their tracks seems to be working.
Council members overwhelmingly passed a new ordinance to up the penalties for people who try to pawn the stolen goods. Wave News reporter Rob Wells is here with more. Rob.
Olivia, good morning. Under those new ordinances, the businesses cannot purchase stripped or burned copper metal, and that is just the start. For bigger sales, it's required a photo of the license plate be taken as well. In October 2024, Metro Council leaders announced the formation of what's called the Critical Infrastructure Task Force, aimed at tracking copper wire thefts and prosecuting thieves. Louisville leaders said crimes of copper theft are costing builders, taxpayers, and the entire community.
While they might be able to drive to neighboring counties or out of state to sell it, the further they have to travel, the greater their risk is of getting caught, and that in and of itself becomes a deterrent.
And by the way, Winkler, who you just saw, is also a member of Louisville's Critical Infrastructure Task Force and says that new regulations on secondary metal recyclers are intended to make criminals think twice. Under the new ordinances, businesses cannot purchase stripped or burned copper metal. Anybody selling to a recycler must have a government-issued ID and have their photo taken by the recycler when the transaction takes place. And for even bigger sales, it's required that a photo of the license plate be taken as well. A brand new tip line to get the public involved in cracking down on the thefts is now live. If you see something, you're asked to call 502-582-CLUE. $5,000 rewards will be given to qualifying tips. You can read more about this on our website, and of course, we'll continue to pass along any developments. Reporting in the studio, Rob Wells, Wave News.
Thank you, Rob. A new major milestone for battery manufacturer Blue Oval SK. Their first battery rolled off the line this week inside the massive plant in Glendale. Blue Oval is building batteries for Ford's all-electric F-150 Lightning pickup. The manufacturer is also making batteries for Ford's current E-Transit. Back in 2021, Ford and SK announced plans to invest $5.8 billion. That money would create 2 plants off Interstate 65 in Hardin County and also add 5,000 new jobs. Governor Andy Beshear says the brand has already filled nearly 1,500 of those positions. Construction on Kentucky 2 has been delayed indefinitely, though, because of a lower demand for electric cars than Blue Oval anticipated. We now know the new area code that will eventually be used in the Louisville area.
The new number is 761. If you have a 502 number, you get to keep it, but once they run out, new users will get 761. The North American Numbering Plan Administrator projects the 502 area code will run out of numbers by the fall of 2027. A rollout date for 761 is not set yet, but guidelines require this be ready at least 6 months before 502 numbers run out.
But we can still call the Louisville area the
502, for sure.
I'm just waiting for those kids who get those new numbers to grow up and suddenly they start calling it something
the 761
else. Because, I mean, that's like how the younger generation just gets rid of all those things that we've always grown up with.
Yes. True.
Ugh, yeah. Ask a kid nowadays how to hold a phone, like with their hands, and that just
They don't do that?
Oh, no.
What do they do?
They put their hands up.
Wait, what?
Because they're used to a cell phone, because it's flat. They don't do it like we did.
Oh, like when you're like, call me.
Yeah.
They do this, call me?
Like, oh, I've asked like nieces and nephews, and they put their hands up because they're used to holding like a cell phone.
Interesting.
So,
we'll have to test that out.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
Find a kid out
with my
there.
kids, and I'll let you know.
Oh, yeah, no, it made me feel
That's interesting.
Old. But for those of you heading out, maybe, hopefully you have
But I still hold my phone like this.
Yeah.
No, I mean not flat.
But it's not the same.
I don't know. I gotta do some research.
The hand motion is different, Shannon. The hand motion is different. What we're seeing right now across the region, the cold front making its way off towards the south. It's still draped right across the parkways. This is where we've been seeing a couple of these isolated downpours so far today. Only a couple of showers still left over for those of you in Washington County. A little bit of drizzle in the Attila area, and that is it for this morning. Excuse me. We're already seeing that mix of sun and clouds overhead with some of these lower level clouds hanging out, but we're seeing clearer skies overhead. And we're going to kind of switch things once we get into the afternoon. More of the upper level clouds overhead with clearer skies closer to the ground. Right now at the airport in Louisville, it's 73 degrees. Most of us in the upper 60s and low 70s to start off the day. As we continue throughout the rest of the day, not as hot as we're going to be jumping into the 80s for your highs this afternoon with that mix of sun and clouds. And for tonight, keeping things dry, partly cloudy as we return to the 60s for your lows. Now let's look ahead to the next 10 days because we do have quite a bit that's going to be going on. For tomorrow, and you keep some clouds overhead across the region. And with that, things are going to be a little bit cooler with highs only in the low to mid 80s. If you get a little bit more of that sunshine tomorrow, which looks to be a little bit more likely for those of you further to the south, then you'll be warmer. But otherwise, still mainly talking about low to mid 80s for highs on Thursday. Warming up more for everyone on Friday and Saturday. We're going to jump to near 90 degrees for both of those days. Now, a front moving through on Saturday will help to usher in some cooler weather. But here's the thing with this front. There's not a lot of moisture expected with it. So while we could see an isolated shower or two as we head into the second half of your Saturday, not much is expected. What it will bring, though, those cooler temperatures, highs in the 80s on Sunday, 70s for the beginning of next week, and even notice those lows in the 50s for most of us as we get through most of next week. So that cooler fall air will be around for a while, but of course, hey, as we continue throughout the rest of your August and into September, we'll probably see that warming trend coming back into our forecast.
Thanks, Tawana. 5 Iron Golf says they're going to add a new location at the corner of 4th and Main Street. 5 Iron Golf will spend $750,000 on a long vacant space to turn it into a new golf experience. They'll have 6 golf simulators plus a full-service bar there. It's expected to open by the end of the year. And Wawa lovers, the East Coast gas station chain announced they're opening their second store in Louisville on Friday, September 5th. This will be on Bardstown Road near Aldi and Rest Haven Memorial Park. Wawa says they plan to open up 8 more locations in Kentucky this year and 40 stores in the state overall. Kentucky's first location opened in July on Preston Crossing Boulevard. I don't know why that was a tongue twister for me.
You can't miss it because there's always a line there too. So many people love it.
Yes. Okay. Coming up, shocking video. An influencer couple recording, eating, and then something horrific happens.
If you're looking for a new job, more than 20 companies will be interviewing candidates today at L&N Stadium. JCPS, Norton Healthcare, UPS, and many others want to fill open jobs. This morning's job fair goes from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at L&N Federal Credit Union Stadium. Companies will each have booths set up inside the PNC Club room. You can pre-register for the event at jobnewslouisville.com. Parking and admission are free. Time is running out if you want to let the city know about plans to turn the Lannon Park tennis courts into a roller skating space. Louisville Parks and Rec opened a survey, and they're asking people how often they visit the park in the Portland neighborhood. It's along the Ohio River near North 26th Street. The mayor's office says there have been several pop-up roller skating events on the tennis courts. If you want to fill out the survey, you can find QR codes at the signs at Lannon Park, or you can go over to our story on wave3.com. That survey is open until Thursday.
New video from Maryland shows the moment a ship had an explosion on board. It happened near the Key Bridge. This was just before 6:30 p.m. The ship was leaving the CSX coal dock on Monday. 23 people were on board this carrier. Officials say no one was hurt. A member of the Baltimore and Chesapeake-based Shipwatchers group says that the ship was full of coal. They're now going to move it to an Anchorage area until it's cleared by the Coast Guard, and they're investigating the cause of the fire.
Take a look at this scary video out of Houston, Texas. 2 food reviewers were filming their opinions about Cuvées culinary creations. Wow, when a vehicle just drove through the window and straight into their table. The food, tables, glass, even the couple sent flying. The social media influencers recorded themselves getting stitches at the hospital after the incident. But the good news is that no one was seriously hurt. They were very lucky to walk away from that.
Yeah, but just bizarre that happened just as they're recording.
They happened to be recording at that right moment. But yeah, to see it from that angle too, just a happy couple enjoying a meal.
Yeah. All right, we'll be right back.
This Wave News Update is sponsored by Oxmoor Auto Group.
Good morning. I'm Shannon Kogan. Bullitt County students are returning to class today. It comes after the district closed yesterday because of that water main break. The district will provide bottles of water to students today. Crews were able to repair the water main break. It happened in Mount Washington on Bardstown Road near the Wawa being built. City leaders haven't released a cause yet for the break, but this morning parts of the county are still under that boil water advisory. And they will need the water, but it's not going to be as hot today.
Yeah, we do see some relief from that extreme heat in the forecast for today, and that is certainly some good news. Right now, we're looking towards downtown Louisville, seeing some blue skies overhead, some clouds in the distance, and we'll watch for that mix of sun and clouds as the day continues. So, yeah, still grab the sunglasses. We were watching a little bit of rain moving through parts of our Kentucky counties, but now we're seeing that last little batch of these showers pushing out of Washington County, so improvements there as well. Your temperature is pretty comfortable, upper 60s and low 70s in most spots. Once we get into the afternoon, we will return to the 80s for your highs for later on today. So it is going to be a warm day, just not incredibly hot. There still remains that chance for an isolated downpour for those of you across Kentucky, but most of us will stay dry. Heading into tomorrow, a little bit cooler as we see some more clouds overhead, and then we'll warm up for Friday and Saturday. By the time we head into the beginning of next week, though, this is when those cooler fall-like temperatures will return to our forecast. Rob?
Yeah, and Tawana, still keeping our eye on 64, the westbound lanes at English Station out there. We've been keeping an eye on this for about an hour now. We had a lot of stalled, looks like at least one stalled car to the right-hand side, and it now looks like they were pulling a vehicle up out of, it looks like a kind of a green area, kind of the side of the roadway there. So there is some slowdowns out there. Take your time.
And thanks for staying with us here for Wave Sunrise Extra. I'm Olivia Russell. We've got a couple of seasons coming up. We've got basketball season coming up and flu season coming up. We'll talk about those in just a minute. But first, last July, several people reached out to our Wave troubleshooters, telling us a neighbor had more than 24 dogs. Callers described the animals barking throughout the night, some getting loose, and then the smell of feces in this hot summer sun. Not much of a resolution there. And in a story you'll only see on Wave, Logan Perrone looked into the issue. He met with those affected neighbors for the third time.
You hear them, you smell them.
Especially in the summer, the smell is still
unbelievable.
And oftentimes, you see them.
And the nuisance hasn't went away.
Bill Williams and Ann Dever are just two of the many people who live in the Prairie Village subdivision who want Metro officials to shorten their leash on their neighbor and his dogs. We first reported on the issue in 2024 when owner Gary Walker told us he had upwards of 24 dogs.
He lets all of them out all the time and said you can hear the yelps of pain and, you know, and him yelling and shooting at them with a pellet gun. Oh, that's a BB gun.
Things all caught on camera, though Dever says LMAS told her they can't do anything since the owner can't be seen. In fact, neighbors say several Metro departments have been all bark, no bite. Since the start of the year, Metro Codes and Regulations has issued citations or violations against Walker in January, February, twice in March, again in May, June, and July. For months, Walker failed to clean up his property or the dog feces.
It is disheartening to the residents. It is disheartening to the animals themselves.
Councilman Khalil Batshon has been in communication with the neighbors for well over a year. LMAS officials told him they had removed puppies from the property. Still, he says Metro departments need to be held accountable.
We can drop fines, we can drop liens, we can drop everything we want on this gentleman's property, but until we take true action in the court for this situation, we're never going to see a result.
Walker was due in court last Friday. His neighbors were subpoenaed to testify, and he didn't show up. Not only that, Dever says the several neighbors who did appear were told Walker has not paid his fines or showed up to civil court.
In our opinion, that's showing us he is not willing to comply with anything.
It's a feeling they share with the city. They want Metro department leaders to take them seriously and take action.
It's very frustrating to me. This is the third time we've done this. Once again, we'd love to see it resolved and resolved a little bit faster.
Batshon tells us LMAS has made a verbal commitment to remove 2 dogs a week, though nothing has been put in writing.
We reached out to Walker and have not heard back. LMAS said they would send us a statement today, and we will certainly stay on top of this story and keep you updated. A scary scene on Kentucky State University's campus after a shooting put the entire campus on lockdown early Sunday morning. Now university leaders are making changes to security and keeping students safe. Police say 2 people were shot Sunday near Young Hall. Both are expected to survive. The university clarified it was not a student or staff member involved. As for the changes, KSU police say the first thing that's going to change is that students must have their student IDs with them at all times. They're also increasing police presence on campus. Franklin County Judge Executive Michael Mueller says city, county, and university are working together to become more present on campus.
In the dorms, maybe with dogs, things like that, to identify where the problems are and where the problem people are and try to get those taken care of.
He also encourages everyone to speak up if they notice something isn't right. He says it's a community effort and everyone has to do their part. Almost a month after Mayor Craig Greenberg allowed certain immigrant Metro inmates to be placed on a 48-hour hold by ICE, the New York Times article is calling his decision a, quote, risky bet. It resulted in Louisville being removed from the Trump administration's list of sanctuary cities. Mayor Greenberg's decision was made under the threat of a federal lawsuit and the potential loss of millions in federal grants. In the New York Times article, Cincinnati's mayor called this a kind of political blackmail. After it was done, Attorney General Pam Bondi praised Greenberg's decision and said Louisville should be an example for other cities. At the time, Greenberg predicted about 100 Metro Corrections inmates would be subject to a 48-hour federal hold. According to a spokesman, 46 inmates had been put on the 48-hour hold since that policy went into effect. ICE has taken custody of 8 of those inmates. We asked if Mayor Greenberg had any regrets about this decision.
I made this decision to protect the broader immigrant community based on the information that I had, based on things that I was told. I believe we will avoid seeing mass ICE raids in this community. I was looking to prevent that, to prevent National Guard from being in our city as well. And so that is the hope.
Critics argue there have been consequences for the city's immigrant populations as families continue to fear separation due to ICE arrests. GE Appliances is celebrating 50 years of a program that's bringing top engineering talent to Louisville. The Edison Engineering Program is a partnership with U of L Speed School. It's a 3-year program where engineering grads can earn their master's degree for free while working full-time at GE. Each year it brings about 100 new engineers to Louisville.
And guess what? These folks have stayed here.
They've built a life here, and they've enriched our city with innovation and community involvement. In fact, since 2018, the retention rate on these Edison engineers is about 80%.
And we have more than 1,000 engineers that have at least one granted patent, and some that have up to 119. Imagine, 119. That is not talent leaving Louisville. That is talent inventing, designing, and thriving in Louisville.
Engineering students interested in joining the Edison program can find the application on the GE Appliances website. If you want to express your opinion on the city's plans to turn Landon Park's tennis courts into a roller skating space, your time is running out. Louisville Parks and Rec opened a survey asking people how often they visit the park in the Portland neighborhood. The mayor's office says there have been several pop-up roller skating events on the tennis courts. So if you want to fill out the survey, you can find a QR code on the signs at Landon Park, or you can go to our story on wave3.com. That survey is open until tomorrow. Mayor Craig Greenberg and his Office of Sustainability also have a new deadline for the Solarize Louisville program. The campaign covers Kentucky counties like Oldham, Jefferson, Spencer, Shelby, and Bullitt, plus Harrison, Floyd, and Clark in Indiana. Solarize gives households bulk purchasing power to get discounted wholesale rates on solar installation. The grant program is designed to help open clean energy to residents regardless of income, meaning homeowners and small non-residential property owners are eligible. People can apply by Monday, September 15th. There's more information on louisville.ky.gov. The FDA is warning people about a shrimp sold by Walmart because of possible radioactive contamination. There are 3 lots of Great Value brand raw frozen shrimp sold on 13 states, and that includes Kentucky. All 3 have a best by date of March 15th, 2027. The FDA stresses no shrimp in the U.S. food supply has tested positive yet, but it's recommending all products from the company sent after the containers tested positive be recalled. So if you have one of those products, you should throw it out immediately. Also, a warning from the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission for Labubu collectors. Knockoff plush figures and keychains known as Lafufus pose a choking risk for children. The CPSC says knockoff toys are small enough to fit into a child's mouth and block their airway. The dolls can also break easily and release small pieces that can become choking hazards. Consumers are advised to stop buying the counterfeit products, which are sometimes called Lafufus, and they are very popular right now, so I know a lot of people trying to get their hands on those Labubus. Just stay away from those Lafufus. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Sunrise Extra in just 2 minutes. National Guard members from several different states are expected to arrive in Washington, D.C. today. It's part of President Trump's strategy to reduce crime in the nation's capital. CNN's Amy Kiley has more on the operations that Guard members are taking and reaction on critics of the plan.
West Virginia National Guard members could be operational in Washington, D.C. starting today, according to a defense official. They're tasked with helping their district counterparts carry out President Donald Trump's crackdown on crime. At least 5 Republican governors from other states say they're deploying Guard members too. The mayor says that's overkill.
The numbers on the ground in the district don't support 1,000 people from other states coming to Washington, D.C.
Others say the city could use some help.
And I don't think it's theater. I think it's working.
At least one Republican governor says he won't send in Guard members. Vermont's leader says policing isn't their job. Meanwhile,
the president's treating us like we're criminals. I'm not no criminal.
Trump's effort to remove homeless people from the city continues.
It's just been a lot of chaos. People using the bathroom out here. People selling drugs all day long.
Trump says he wants homeless people to get help outside the Capitol. Advocates say most are just relocating within the city. They say that struggle to find shelter makes the problem worse.
They're losing their possessions, they're losing their dignity, they're getting disconnected from services, and we're making it harder for them to get out of homelessness.
Nowhere to go. When you don't get help, it's nowhere to go.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Some of the top Republican leaders in Indiana are scheduled to meet with officials in the Trump administration and the White House later this month. Top lawmakers were invited by email a few weeks ago. It comes as some Republicans are considering a push to make changes to Indiana's congressional map. Governor Mike Braun says he's not yet decided if he'll call a special session to address the voting map. The email makes no mention of redistricting and says the invite is a chance for Indiana's elected officials to hear from senior White House officials and cabinet secretaries. New voting maps could make it easier for Republicans to pick up another seat in the U.S. House. Well, it is almost flu season, and many Americans will have the option to give themselves the flu vaccine and to do it at home. FluMist is now approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for use at home, and it can be ordered online. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on how this new vaccine works.
It's the only nasal spray flu vaccine in the U.S. FDA approved for use at home. FluMist Home can be self-administered by adults under 50 and can be given to children as young as 2.
It's delivered with cold packs in a cold chain shipping model, and actually one of the great steps is when you receive your dose, there's a temperature tag that gets scanned to ensure that it stayed in the right temperature throughout the entire shipping process and that it's safe and ready to use.
The vaccine nasal spray is now available for home delivery in 34 states. It can be ordered online after a brief medical screening questionnaire, which will be reviewed by a licensed healthcare provider before the vaccine is prescribed. It's covered by most commercial insurance companies with a fee of $8.99 for shipping and handling.
It's quite easy to administer. All they do is take it out of its packaging, put it into one nostril, spray the device, remove a clip from the middle, and then spray it into the other nostril.
Last flu season was unusually severe. Preliminary estimates from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention suggest that between October 2024 and May 2025, there were up to 82 million illnesses, 1.3 million hospitalizations, and 130,000 deaths from flu. At the same time, the CDC says less than half of kids and adults in the U.S. had gotten an annual flu vaccine.
Knowing that they can bring FluMist home right into their home and vaccinate on their schedule, the time they want, no waiting in line, makes it very manageable.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A medical group says infants and young children should get their COVID-19 vaccine shots. The American Academy of Pediatrics says the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices was overhauled this year and replaced with members who have a history of spreading vaccine misinformation. The CDC says current COVID-19 vaccine recommendations for children ages 6 months to 17 years should be, quote, based on shared clinical decision-making. The AAP says all children ages 6 through 23 months should get a COVID-19 vaccine unless they have known allergies to it or its ingredients. It's also recommended a single dose for certain children ages 2 through 18 years. We'll be right back. Oh, we're already looking ahead to basketball season. And now Cards and Cats fans now know when the two women's basketball teams will face off against each other. The game is set for Saturday, November 22nd at the KFC Yum Center. A game in November isn't uncommon for the two programs as they face off in mid-November last season. The Wildcats won that game. It was their first win over the Cards since 2015. By the time this game tips off, we'll know who won the matchup. On the men's side, they play just 11 days earlier on November 11th. That game will also be at the Yum Center. As for the men's team program, a legend of the program saw himself get a big promotion. Head coach Pat Kelsey has announced that Cardinal legend Peyton Siva was promoted to an assistant coaching position for the team this upcoming season. Last season, Siva was the director of player development and alumni relations. He will maintain that role, but he'll also become an on-court assistant. Siva released a statement that said in part, quote, "I'm honored to take on this new role at the University of Louisville. This program and this city mean everything to me." The Cards open the season against Kentucky again. That is November 11th. We're already looking forward to seeing that. Well, from one school legend to the next, a return to school to be a coach could be on the horizon. He's retiring, though, from the sport. We're talking about John Wall. He announced that his time as a professional basketball player has come to an end. Wall is one of the first recruits to commit to the school under former head coach John Calipari. He paved the way for Kentucky to regain powerhouse status after a few down seasons. In the NBA, Wall was the #1 pick in the 2010 draft. He spent his NBA career playing for the Washington Wizards, the Houston Rockets, and Los Angeles Clippers. He was also a 5-time All-Star and earned All-NBA honors in 2017. A big congratulations on a successful career there. For the second time this year, professional golf is back in the area. Wave Sports reporter Dusty Baker has details on the Korn Ferry Championship at French Lick.
The Korn Ferry Tour is back, and it's coming through French Lick here at the Pete Dye course. There have been a lot of big names and key faces that have gone through this tour en route to the PGA Tour. This year, the competition as fierce as ever.
It's incredible, the talent. I mean, most of these guys are a lip putt away from making the PGA Tour.
I think it brings out the best player. Last year, Braden Thornberry won. You can't deny the fact that he was the best player that week.
The Korn Ferry Tour has a reputation for elevating the play of some of the greatest golfers in the world.
We've had people play in our Pro-Ams with Scotty Scheffler 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Pro golfer and Indiana native Joe Weiler warns the course is certainly a difficult one.
I think any time you have a tournament here, it's just going to show its teeth, which I think is the best sign of a good tournament golf course.
But says playing in French Lick near his hometown Bloomington is a special opportunity.
It's cool to bring out some of the best players in the world to French Lick.
While it may be calm right now, fast forward to October the 9th, and there will be many more faces here in French Lick, keeping their eye on those big names and big faces coming through the Korn Ferry Tour with the hope of winning a championship in French Lick. Reporting in French Lick, Dusty Baker, Wave Sports.
The tour begins in French Lick on the 9th. It will run through October 12th. Good luck to everyone competing there. Well, it might be early in the morning, but it's never too early to think about lunch. And if you need lunch plans, we've got you covered. Food trucks will be lining up on 4th Street again today for Food Truck Wednesday. You'll have the chance to walk down 4th Street, trying all those different food options and listening to live music. Some of the food trucks you can expect to find there are Frickled Pickle Express and Lorna's Really Good Lemonade. Good thing I did not mess up that name there on the Pickle Express. It's all happening today from 11 a.m. through 2 p.m. So there you go. There are your lunch plans for the day. That's all the time we have here for Wave Sunrise Extra. Thanks so much for joining us. Hope you have a great Wednesday. We are halfway through the week already. We'll see you back here tomorrow.